Okay, once the temperatures starts rising, I realized I was back to the same worn out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30. Luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. And the best part? Everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices in premium fabrics and finishes. Go get yourself the Oxford Relaxed shirt. I got mine in pale blue. You're going to wear it all the time and you're going to love it. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/KateCasey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey.
At Hotels.com, we know some travelers crave an ocean breeze. Others don't want to deal with sand. And oftentimes, those two people end up together. Compare properties side by side to find yourself poolside, oceanside, and still in a relationship. Find your perfect somewhere with Hotels.com.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Netflix's Untold is one of my favorite sports documentary series. Not just for its storytelling and deep investigative work, but also because I've had the privilege of interviewing many of the filmmakers and subjects featured across the series. Since its debut in 2021, Untold has carved out a unique space by spotlighting some of the most jaw-dropping, complex, and often overlooked stories in sports history. The series dives into unforgettable events like Untold: Malice at the Palace, which revisits the infamous 2004 NBA brawl between players and fans, and Untold: The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, unpacking the heartbreaking catfishing scandal involving Manti Te'o. Well, today, I'm diving into a story that peels back the layers of sports hero worship and exposes the unsettling truths that often lurk beneath the surface of fame. The Fall of Favre is a gripping new documentary on Netflix as part of that Untold series. And it's more than just a retrospective on a football legend. It's a chilling expose of how power, privilege, and public adoration can shield a man from scrutiny. Brett Favre grew up in Mississippi, and he earned a reputation for his toughness, powerful arm, and on-field leadership. He played 20 seasons in the NFL, most famously with the Green Bay Packers. Now, at the University of Southern Mississippi, he became the starting quarterback as a freshman. Even a near-fatal car crash before his senior year, which required the removal of 30 inches of a small intestine, it couldn't stop him. He returned to lead his team to a stunning upset over Alabama, solidifying his status as a gritty competitor. Now, with the Packers, he won 3 consecutive MVP awards from 1995 to 1997, and he led his team to a Super Bowl victory. He later played for the New York Jets in 2008, and the Minnesota Vikings from 2009 to 2010 before he retired in 2011. He was selected to 11 Pro Bowls and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2016. But his post-football life has been clouded by controversy. In 2008, while playing for the Jets, Brett Favre allegedly sent inappropriate messages and explicit photos to Jen Sturger, a team sideline reporter. According to Sturger, Favre obtained her contact information and began sending lewd texts and voicemails. That scandal became public 2 years later, in 2010, when Deadspin published the content, prompting an NFL investigation. Now, though the league fined him $50,000 for failing to cooperate, he was not suspended. Commissioner Roger Goodell cited insufficient evidence to determine a violation of the personal conduct policy. In the documentary, Sturger opens up about the lasting impact of the incident, saying that his behavior destroyed her life. Now, there's the other scandal, a mortgage scandal. At the center of this case is the misappropriation of funds from the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. Brett Favre is accused of helping to funnel money into projects he supported, including a volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi, where his daughter played, and a concussion drug company in which he had invested. That company, Prevacus, a Florida-based biotech startup, received more than $2 million in diverted welfare funds. Brett Favre actively promoted the company. In 2024, its founder, Jake Van Landingham, pled guilty to charges related to the misuse of those funds. While Brett Favre hasn't faced criminal charges, he remains a defendant in a civil suit filed by the state, which is seeking repayment. Though he's returned $1.1 million he received for public speaking engagements he never fulfilled, he still owes approximately $730,000 in interest. This scandal has become emblematic of the dangers of unchecked celebrity and the consequences of misused influence. Untold, the Fall of Favre offers a sobering reflection on the culture of sports, the mechanisms that protect public figures, and the cost of looking the other way. It asks tough questions about accountability and how far fans, institutions, and society are willing to go to protect a sports hero. Joining me in today's episode is the documentary film's director, Rebecca Gitlinz. Here's my interview. When I put together my bag each day, I need the essentials, my wallet, my keys, and I also need my liquid IV, which is helping me stay hydrated throughout the whole day. You can break the mold and own your own ritual with just one stick and 16 ounces of water, which hydrates better than water alone. Powered by Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And I gotta tell you, the best flavors. You have a multitude of flavors, acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. Get ready for a long day with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Kate Casey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Kate Casey at liquidiv.com. Summer's almost here. It is my most favorite time of the year, and there's no better place to go for outdoor furniture than Wayfair. Wayfair's huge selection of outdoor essentials will help make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. Wayfair has all things outdoor and at unbelievable prices. So don't wait until summer's in full swing. You've got to get your outdoor space ready today so you can enjoy it all season long. I just love the look of white wicker in a backyard, and then to spruce it up with some blue or yellow pillows. Wayfair really has everything that you and I both need. Outdoor dining tables and sets, umbrellas, dining chairs, bar stools, grills, outdoor bars, even tableware. Their huge selection of home items makes it easy to find exactly what's right for you. And I gotta tell you, my favorite part, it is free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. So no more huge delivery fees for patio furniture. You can get big stuff like patio sets, gazebos, hot tubs, and more shipped free. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Rebecca, this is such an interesting story. I love all things sports doc series, and I love this series. This story, I was surprised how little I knew about it until this documentary. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So how did this story come to you?
I was at Time Studios under Ian Orphis in 2022 or 2020, and we started talking about this when the scandal originally broke. I was making sports documentaries at the time, and I said, God, this is really fascinating. You know, I remembered the Jen Sturger story from 2010, and he ended up leaving Time. I kept a project going. He kept a project going. And around 2022, we came back together. He had started Everwonder Studios and was partnering with Front Office Sports. And he said, "Are you ready to make this doc?" And I said, "Yes, I cannot wait." And I just think it's such a fascinating story that is filled with nuance and complexity. And there's so much you haven't heard, even though Brett Favre is in the minds and the zeitgeist of sports fans. So I love a story like that.
So I think the first thing I want to kind of set the scene is for Brett and the culture in which he was raised and football, especially football culture in the South.
Yeah, I mean, we all know about Friday Night Lights, right? And you hear about it, but you don't necessarily understand how early this almost grooming starts, where you care about the star quarterback and you do anything to protect them. And there's boosters and there's tickets and there's games. And so I think we wanted to really track that and show how young this starts. Jamel talks about it starts with a cheeseburger and it ends up, so much bigger. And so you saw it in high school and then you saw it in college. He went to a pretty unknown program. He didn't go to a powerhouse school. Here's a quarterback that didn't grew up under his dad in a running offense, wasn't throwing the ball, and then all of a sudden becomes a star. And the USM community grabbed onto that really hard. And I think you can see the roots of Brett in that college experience.
I think you do a really great job too of just starting to peel that layer back about the privilege of sport, the privilege of a quarterback, the privilege of someone who's played in the NFL, and specifically someone who's white. So as you begin to kind of peel back that story, was it surprising to you how many stories were kind of lurking in the background about passes that were afforded to him because of his race, his power in sports, his success?
Yeah, I think that when you see a rise of success, you sort of universally see a lack of accountability or people covering. And I don't think that Brett is alone in this, right? But I was, as we tracked, we spent a lot of time in Mississippi. We spent a lot of time in Wisconsin. I think with a story like this, you want to make sure that your reporting is completely locked in, that you are covering the story from all bases. And so we heard a lot that doesn't get reported to the media. We saw a lot. We heard a lot of stories of behavior that really cemented that there was a pattern here that we wanted to unfold. And I think that we tried to do that. And I just really wanted to show how this happens, right? How big scandals happen, how the progression happens, and how sometimes winning is all people want to see.
So when you start to dig deep into these interviews, specifically with Jen, she's obviously felt completely burned by the press. How did you get her into a place where she felt comfortable opening up? And do you feel like there were some realizations that she had as in the process of telling her story?
Yeah, I mean, Jen was actually one of the very first phone calls that I made, and I feel eternally grateful that she answered the call. But I spent a long time talking to her and listening to her before we ever turned a camera on. And
Nice.
I think that made a big difference in her feeling heard, her feeling listened to. And I felt like there's been so many times in her journey, right, which is completely tied to Brett Favre's journey, whether she likes it or not. Anytime he moves to another team, anytime he gets something, Jen's name will forever be cemented. But nobody ever listened to Jen. Nobody ever told Jen's story. And I think that when the Mississippi scandal story broke, she understood that she wasn't the only person's story who wasn't being told. And I think that allowed her to have a little bit more openness in wanting to revisit this, which is very painful and very hard. But her trust and her story was of utmost importance. It was a non-negotiable for me. And so if she was comfortable, we talked. If she wasn't comfortable, we didn't, And so we spent a long time together, sort of learning what was important, what wasn't important, where we could go, where we couldn't go. And that takes time and that takes trust. And I was glad that she allowed me to work with her on that.
Well, two of the things I thought watching that were, number one, I would hope that this is not the total end of her career. If anything, speaking out now will remind people of her talent. So I hope that this is not the end of her career. And the second thing that I thought was interesting was that you showed that clip of Brett's wife being interviewed. And just the idea that these two women are the ones who are hung to dry, and then he's still celebrated.
I mean, I think that women have it hard in lots of ways in life. I think in sports, we've seen women sort of get chewed apart over and over again. Like, she says in here she wanted to be Erin Andrews, but we've seen what happened to Erin Andrews, right? So if that's your promised land, but she's dealing with the same things. And I think that there's lots of people that are left in the wake of Brett's story, which is what we wanted to show, right? Like, he constantly gets shine, and his career on field is constantly what is relevant and what is talked about. But there's actually so much more to the story, and there's so many more people that are a part of it. And yet, on-field achievement sort of trumps all of that. And so I think the media has covered it largely the same for many years. And I think that is the benefit of having people like Ian Orphis, who is our executive producer, who allowed me, a lot of runway to say, like, this is actually how I want to tell this story. And Untold, who's laid the groundwork for telling these really in-depth personal stories. And so sort of the perfect place to be able to shine a different light on something you thought you knew that you actually had no idea. Like, Jen blew my mind over and over. And I consider myself like pretty well-versed in the story. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. It was amazing.
So I'm one of those moms now who has a daughter that loves to wear her clothes as well. That's why I love to shop at Revolve, because my daughter and I can both find great stuff. Over 1,200 brands and 100,000 styles across high-end, emerging, and exclusive labels in fashion, beauty, and in home goods. You're going to have the most popular brands like Lovers and Friends, Amanda Uprichard, Norma Kamali, A. Goldie, and Michael Costello. Authentic, high-quality products. New arrivals come daily. Inclusive sizing options, personalized product recommendations based on your purchase history. Revolve has it all. I just ordered Mia a beautiful more to come maxi dress and gold sandals for a graduation party in June, and I can't wait to start ordering clothes for all of the fun parties that I'm going to go to. From last-minute getaways to party dressing and seasonal upgrades, Revolve has you covered with fast, 2-day shipping and easy returns, all of them. And for a limited time, you can shop a curated selection of my favorite styles at revolve.com/KateCasey, and you can receive 15% off your first order with the code KateCasey. That's revolve.com/KateCasey to shop my top picks and get 15% off your first order with code KateCasey. Offer is only valid for a limited time, so don't miss out. Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. And let me tell you, the quality of Mint Mobile's wireless service in comparison to my old provider is mint. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/realitylife. That's mintmobile.com/realitylife. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Then as you crack the part about the mortgage fraud, I mean, it's very clear that there are people in the media and in government who were afraid to talk. How hard was it for you to get some of those participants to get on board? I mean, you hear audio where people are being threatened.
Yeah. The Mississippi welfare scandal is extremely complicated. And it peeled out in layers. And as people were indicted, 6 people were indicted for the welfare fraud when we started this. And, it's complicated. And I think people were afraid to say the wrong thing because Brett has denied all wrongdoing. He has not faced any criminal charges, but he has faced, he is part of a civil lawsuit to claw back the money. And so we stuck to the facts, right? And the facts were that, the volleyball stadium at University of Southern Mississippi was built with this money. His daughter was playing there at the time. He was an alum. The company that he owned or was a part of as a spokesperson about concussions, Prevacus, also received state money. He received state money for speaking engagements, which he did pay back, but not the interest. And so we really stuck to the text messages that he sent, the facts of the matter, where this sort of public auditor's office saw the cracks in this story. And so while he has completely denied any wrongdoing, and that continues to be true, we presented it in a very basic, understandable way because it is complicated. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted people to take out of this was that there are lots of people in Mississippi that are suffering, and the rules and regulations for people who desperately need it to get welfare money are so complicated and don't allow for this. But there were people that were just getting this money with no questions asked for these pet projects. And so, there was a real system of unfairness, to say the most basic term there. But it was really blatant when you looked at it.
The hero worship in this country for our athletes and the way that they're able to get a pass is pretty, it can enrage you. What was that like to tell that part of that story?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at that, the system of American lore, right? We love our heroes, and people don't want to hear things about their heroes because maybe they watched a Packer game with their dad and now their dad is gone, and that seminal moment in their lives is completely tied to this person, right? Yeah. And so whether or not he did something wrong in his personal life, does that take away that moment, right? It's so intricately tied. And when you think about, how much money he has, that's one thing. But then you think about the people of Green Bay who have entire communities that run off the money that is brought in because the Packers are succeeding. Like it's so deep, the levels that this story sort of unravels, and you understand why on some level. And then you're like, but at what level does that stop? Like, at what level do we say, like, this is too much? And so I think the goal of this film has always been to lay out everything and say, like, you decide for yourself, but please understand all of the things that you have to understand this story. And if you still feel the same way, then that's your prerogative. But I felt like I wanted people to understand how deep the roots are of this sort of story.
Well, I thought you did a great job because it's really complicated. And like I said, there were parts of the story I was completely unfamiliar with. And I really appreciate the way that you gave voice to so many of those victims. And I'm hoping that they feel a semblance of their power, getting their power back. Tell everybody where they can watch it and where they can find you.
Yeah, it will be. Well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that because we took a lot of care in making sure that people felt like they could be heard. So it is May 20th on Netflix, part of the Untold series. And I think the greatest way to understand me or find me and more work that I've been doing is from Everwonder Studios and also Time Studios, which was our partner, and Front Office Sports. They are always doing some amazing work, and hopefully I will be a part of it moving forward.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my wonderful guest and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. Join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can get bonus episodes by going to patreon.com/Kate Casey. You can get my weekly list of what to watch in unscripted TV, so reality shows, documentaries, and series, by going to katecasey.substack.com. And please follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KatecaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.
These days, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries, and with that, we sent away good jobs and our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make all kinds of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more, right here in the USA. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs in towns and cities across the country. And jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.